Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are continuing our live coverage of the verdict, the breaking news. Significant for all of our rights in the verdict today. Guilty on all charges. The three officers who were there with Derek Chauvin, who's already been convicted in a state court of the murder of George Floyd. This trial was in federal court about the civil rights of George Floyd. And we're showing there the U.S. Attorney's Office is going to be speaking. That is a view of what we see as we wait for them to begin. As soon as they begin speaking, it looks like that's just a test. As soon as they begin speaking, we're certainly going to cut in and take you to that conference live. In the meantime, still with me, I have Tammy Allison. Tammy, one of the things I really want to talk to you about is why this guilty verdict on all charges of all three officers is so significant for all of us and our civil rights moving forward. What are your thoughts?
Ashley, this is so significant because this statute, as we stated earlier, that willfulness, that is something that is a very high burden to meet. We talked about, what the burden of proof is. And just to be clear, under this statute, 18 U.S.C. 242, the standard of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt because it makes it a crime for someone working as a public servant, like an officer, to willfully stand by and not do anything. And we talked about how we typically see civil rights violations brought under 18 U.S.C. 1983 that does not necessarily make that violation of civil rights a crime. So what it is and what it's showing is when we see that excessive use of force, typically we see the 1983 being brought forward as a civil rights violation. But this makes it a crime. And these officers being found guilty by a jury, that means that they are subjected to some time in federal prison, and under the United States sentencing guidelines, they can serve, at minimum 10 years up to life based off of this guilty verdict. We'll just have to wait and see, as you know, with federal cases, their criminal history category and the base level offense is what determines what their sentence is going to be under a guidelines range. So what this means is that I believe every law enforcement officer across the country, not only seeing Derek Chauvin's guilty plea, but this guilty verdict here, they're going to think twice before they are using excessive use of force.
And Tammy, that was one of the points that I'm so glad you've mentioned. As a former judge, one of the things we know about convictions, sentences, is not only to punish the person convicted, but also to deter. And so I think we know this is going to raise the bar, because what does it mean? It means there will be punishment if there is a willfulness in not providing medical care, in ignoring and failing to intervene. If you are law enforcement and you do any of those things, and all that can do is make it a better system for all of us, because all of us want those rights, our civil rights, to be honored and valued if we are in a situation like this. And the only way that can happen is when there is a conviction, for it to move us forward to prevent this from happening in the future. Our greatest hope that this will help prevent it moving forward in the future. I'm going to take a look at my screen. We're still setting up for the U.S. Attorney's Office press conference in this case. Were you surprised to hear, and I know, again, your former federal prosecutor experience, the emotional, really, aspect of the jurors? Chanley described at least 3 wiping away tears, one of them a harder time getting her composure. That's not typical.
Yeah, I actually was surprised when Chanley shared that, because like we stated earlier, federal court is so rigid, it's so by the book. And typically, we don't see emotions. But I guess after this guilty verdict, and just like we stated earlier, seeing that footage of Derek Chauvin's knee in George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, that does something. It humanizes George Floyd, and it shows that the jury was taking that into consideration when they deliberated and came back with that guilty verdict. And it's something that's emotional. I think all of us, it doesn't matter what your political background is, what your race is, religious background, we can all sympathize and empathize with the human element and aspect of this. This is what reform looks like, and hopefully we can start to see less of these types of situations.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And it gives us the opportunity while we're waiting for the U.S. Attorney's Office to begin this press conference. We want to take a look back at where it all began, Cub Foods, and what the establishment is now like. Let's listen.
It's been nearly 2 years since the death of George Floyd here at the corner of 38th and Chicago in South Minneapolis.
I can breathe.
Viral cell phone video of Floyd's final moments in police custody triggered violent unrest and protest against police brutality and racism. Almost immediately, the neighborhood surrounding the incident evolved into an autonomous zone. Streets were blocked with huge concrete barriers and patrolled by residents and activists preserving a growing and expansive memorial known as George Floyd Square.
How you doing?
Oh, great, man.
At the center of it all, Cub Foods, the corner store where employees called police to report Floyd's use of a fake $20 bill. Owner Mahmoud Abumayale says it's been a rough couple of years.
We've been in the community for a long time, serving our community. A lot of our regular customers just stopped coming because of the crime and the danger, and some customers never returned.
This community on edge wouldn't have to wait long for the wheels of justice to turn. In April 2021, Derek Chauvin, the former officer who pressed his knee to Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes, was convicted on murder and manslaughter charges. Now, nearly a year after that historic verdict, and as the other 3 officers are facing accountability in court, the site of George Floyd's death is still enshrined as hallowed ground, protected by these concrete barriers. But now the streets are back open for this very busy intersection that is still able to preserve the many sculptures and memorials.
This is part of my healing process because of watching the George Floyd being murdered right on the corner of 30th in Chicago. Every morning on my way to work, this is my routine route. This is where I get my therapist from every morning.
All right, Tammy, I was just speaking with my producer, Eric Goldson, in my ear, and one of the things we were just talking about is that how does it make you feel as a person? And I'm just going to tell you, for me, personally, watching this, it gives me hope. It gives me hope. I believe in our jury system. I've always said that. I stand by that as a former judge. They have the facts before them to make the decision. They have the law before them to make the decision. It gives me hope that these types of things that we continue to see, videos of, that people take on their phones as they're seeing injustices, that it gives me hope. I would love to know, how do you feel, not as an attorney watching this, but as a person with this verdict?
Yes, Ashley, as a person, as a mother of a Black son, as a wife of a Black husband, it gives me hope as well. And it gives me hope that, I always state that there's inherent bias in the policies and the procedures. I loved my experience at the Department of Justice, but as a person, I also experienced, microaggressions. And these are things that we all experience. No matter what your racial background is, we are all going through something, very much something, okay? And what this verdict does, it shows that anyone can find relief in the form of justice. Right now, I think we've seen justice in terms of what happened to George Floyd, not only from the state criminal conviction of Derek Chauvin, but the violation of his constitutional rights. Every single American, every single viewer that's watching has constitutional rights that are to be protected. That is what this country stands behind, and that's why we are all proud to be American citizens. And what this shows is that it is going to be taken seriously if something happens to you, your family member, your children, your friends, and your neighbors. It's not going to be ignored. It's not going to be swept under the rug. So for me as a person, not an attorney, it gives me hope as well. And again, I do believe that this is the type of reform that we've been screaming for. This is what the uproar was for in the summer of 2020, following this very tragic murder. And I hope to see more individuals held accountable for these types of egregious offenses.
And I really appreciate that you put it in terms of our constitutional rights that apply to every one of us. And if anyone's trying to figure out, okay, how can I feel that, or how can it make me feel? Imagine, if you will, that George Floyd is your son, brother, uncle, loved one. You put it in that perspective and you see pretty quickly exactly how it affects every American and the protection of our constitutional rights. That's why it is so important to cover these cases, to watch what happens as these cases unfold. And let me just add, Tammy, let's not forget, this is on the heels of a verdict in the case in the death of Ahmaud Arbery in South Georgia, Brunswick, Georgia, African-American male. Not only has there been a conviction in state courts for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, but now we also have the federal trial hate crimes verdicts, guilty in that case as well. You take these two cases from federal court together, it is a big day for the justice system in my mind.
It is, Ashley. It's a huge day. And the only thing that can make things better is if the same energy is put behind Black women that are being murdered. Because, in Texas, Tatiana Jefferson was murdered in October 2019. And Erin Dean, the officer responsible for her murder, still has not gone to trial. But we have seen these Black men who have egregiously been murdered, yes, but they have had some form of justice. There has been a trial. There's been an ability for the victims to speak out. So I hope to see the same thing in the cases of Black women that are also being murdered in these ways, because gender bias, even in death, is not acceptable.
All right, thank you, Tammy, for all those thoughts. I want to share now, again, breaking news, because I have for immediate release, and I'm reading it from an email so we can get all of the right information. Nationally renowned civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump and co-counsel have released a statement following the guilty verdict in the federal trial of the 3 remaining former officers involved in the killing of George Floyd. Thank you to my team for having it in the prompter as well. Today, and this is what the statement says, quote, "Today closes another important chapter in our journey for justice for George Floyd and his family. These officers tried to devise any excuse that could let them wash the blood from their hands. But following these verdicts, George's blood will forever stain them. Today's guilty verdicts should serve as the guiding example of why police departments across America should expand and prioritize instruction on an officer's duty to intervene and recognize when a fellow officer is using excessive force. With that being said, the existing policies were not on trial. Rather, on trial were the human beings present when the breath was taken from an unarmed man right in front of them. Nothing will bring George Floyd back to his loved ones, but with these verdicts, we hope that the ignorance and indifference toward human life shown by these officers will be erased from our nation's police departments, so no other family has to experience a loss like this. The Floyd family will have to relive the traumatic disregard for George's life once again in June, when these officers will stand trial in state court. We hope and we expect that these officers will once again be held accountable for their lack of humanity. Thank you to Tammy Allison for being with us and breaking all of this down. When we come back, Michael Ayala will be in the anchor chair, and the U.S. Attorney's press conference will be here live for you on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
When you're